everybody. My name is Nicole Tompkins. I am an instructor with the South Bend Civic Theater Academy. I teach an auditioning prep class for high schoolers. I also spent the last few summers teaching at the summer camps that the Civic Theater offers. So if you are interested in any further information about our year-long programming or our summer camps, please visit sbct.org/education. This video is provided to you for free, but there will be information in the description of this video, and I believe at the end as well, for donations for the Civic Theater. So if you are able to, please, please, please support the arts, especially during this time of social distancing. Thank you. So today we are going to be doing a auditioning basics workshop. So what that means is we're going to cover all the things you need for a successful audition. So we're going to learn how to slate. We are going to learn how to read an audition breakdown. We are going to learn how to pick the correct material for auditions. We are also going to cover what you should be wearing and not wearing to an audition, what's appropriate, not appropriate. What we are going to be covering, how a theatrical resume is supposed to look and a headshot, and kind of go over all of that. And then the last thing we're going to be covering is video submissions, because those have become a lot more popular over the last couple of months and the last couple of years, gaining steam as everything is kind of moving to online. So my hope is that you find some of this, hopefully all of this information useful to you. Everything I will be talking about in the workshop is essential to a successful audition, but it is important to remember that the most important part of auditioning is showing the best version of yourself. You can set yourself up for success by being prepared, confident, having the right materials, and hopefully this workshop will help you achieve that. All right, so let's get down to business. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is slating. Now, if you've never heard the term slate before, a slate is how you introduce yourself after entering the room before you do your audition pieces. Now, slating is important because it is the first impression that casting directors, anybody who's adjudicating the auditions has of you, which is important to be confident, but also personable. Remember, they need to want to work with you. This is a great time to show them your personality because you are not portraying a character yet, so you can just be yourself. So when do you slate? So you walk in the room, you will hand your music to the accompanist. If it's a musical theater audition, go over that with them, get that all set up, and then you will find your spot in the room that you're supposed to stand in, whether it be an X on the floor or you find your light on the stage. Every room is a little bit different. So you set yourself into place, and then you wait for the auditioners to acknowledge you and let you know that you can go. You don't want to just go without them kind of giving you any sort of acknowledgement. That might just be a nod, or they might, say whenever you're ready, which is great because then you can take a moment to yourself and then begin your slate. And now a good professional slate is what we're going for here. For example, my name is Nicole Tompkins, and this is I Could Have Danced All Night. Now, this is much more effective than, my name is Nicole Tompkins, and I will be performing I Could Have Danced All Night from Alan J. Lerner and Frederick Lowe's masterpiece, My Fair Lady. Odds are the director already knows what show your song is from, and really, they are just there to hear you sing. So the shorter the slate, the better, and more concise, and it just shows that you can get down to the point and get going. The same goes for monologues. The only difference here is you do want to include the playwright in your slate. So an example of that would be, my name is Nicole Tompkins, and this is a piece from The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. If you have never slated before, I encourage you to give it a go. If you have always kind of winged it in your audition, just kind of said whatever was on top of your head, I would encourage you to maybe write it down. If you have a monologue, maybe write it before your monologue and perform it all together as if the slate is part of your audition, because then everything will flow together seamlessly. Your nerves won't kick in because you're not trying to think of what to say. You already are prepared, and it's the best way to set yourself up for a successful audition. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to read audition breakdowns. Now, there are a lot of different places where you can find audition notices. Either if it's for your school, it might be posted on the website or Facebook. I know that the Civic Theater here, we post it on our website and on Facebook. And There are also other resources that I wanted to make you aware of for finding audition notices that you don't have to go to the individual theater to look for it. It can be more general auditions and you can see a bunch at once. So I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so I hope that you guys can see this okay, but I'm going to kind of go through the websites that I use to find audition notices. So the website I'm on right now is broadwayworld.com. It's a great resource for all things theater and Broadway. You can look at different Broadway shows and stuff, but for today's purposes, we are looking at jobs. I'm going to choose non-equity because that's what most of us that are watching this are. And here we are, non-equity regional audition. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find one that I think, ooh, this looks interesting. Let's see, click here for more info. So this is a staged reading. And it says this is posted March 5th. The company is Lucier and Rose. In the description, seeking musical theater performers with rock pop musical theater voices for a full-length concert version of an eclectic new musical based on 90s television heroes. This is a super fun opportunity to perform at an exclusive one-night-only concert for fans of the genre. Concert includes full score and real dialogue. We will have a full band. See role breakdown below. Casting is based primarily on vocal ability, personality, and availability. All ethnicities, types, and genders encouraged to apply. So that's the description. Then next it'll show when you have to be available. So if you have conflicts, probably shouldn't audition for this. And there's only 2 days of rehearsal and 1 day of a show. So this is a nice short little gig. The location is LA, so not for anything around here, but it's just good to look at. And then the compensation is a $200 stipend. A stipend is just a little lump sum that you get paid at the very end of your contract. So it's not like you're getting paid weekly or anything like that, just one $200 stipend. And if interested, please send headshot, resume, and video of a vocal performance to this email. And later on in the video, we will talk about how to do a video submission, so hang tight for that. But we can look at the character breakdown here. So, oh, look, I'm a female, I'm 18 plus, and I'm a rock musical theater belter. This looks like a good role for me. And then I would read this description and see which one that I feel like I fit best, and then pick a song that kind of fits through for that character. So if I'm a musical theater mezzo-soprano, I would pick a mezzo-soprano song. If it was a rock belter, I would pick a rock belt song. You know, these things are here to help you pick material. So that's BroadwayWorld.com. The next website I want to talk to you all about is Backstage. So this is Backstage.com. It also is in a print magazine form that you get when you get a subscription. You do have to pay for this site and to be a member of it, but I would highly suggest it if you are very serious about acting and auditioning professionally, because it is a great resource. Not only do they have all the casting calls available, you also can find resources on auditioning tips, just like this workshop, or they have different stuff every single day, different articles that they send out through their email. It's just really, really helpful. It's a great way to stay involved and kind of know what is going on in the theatrical world. So we're just going to kind of look through this and I'll show you a little bit of what we can see without having to pay for it. So I'm going to click on casting calls here and open casting calls and auditions near you. So this is a great resource. You can look up New York auditions, Chicago auditions. You can also, I would choose Chicago auditions for around here. You can do male, female, transgender. You can do age range. You can do 50 miles from wherever you are. There's a lot of, you can refine the search here, which is great. But the great thing about these is it'll show you, you don't even have to click on it. It shows you everything that's involved. So this is an animation and video game voiceover for singers. It is paid and is work from home. A lot of these right now will probably have that just because that's where the industry is. And that's where we can work right now because we can't leave our houses. So It's got what they're looking for, the age breakdown, all of that kind of good stuff. And you can spend hours here searching. I mean, there's just thousands of casting calls. So Backstage is a great resource. The last one that I wanted to talk to you guys about is also on here. It is Stage Agent. Now, I use this a lot in middle school and high school as a resource to help me learn about the shows that I was doing and auditioning for. And you do have to pay, sign up, and there is a premium that you have to pay to see the breakdowns for different auditions and stuff. But there are a lot of ways to use this website without paying for it too. So I'm going to show you some of that. So let's say that I'm auditioning for the show Annie. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so it will show you everything you need to know about this show. The book, who wrote the book, who wrote the music, what's it from, how many acts it is, if it won the Tony, how many Tonys it won, all this kind of stuff. Just so much information about the shows. There is also a synopsis, which is very helpful if it's a show that you don't know. And then there are also character breakdowns on here. So if your audition notice doesn't have a lot of detailed information on it, this is a great resource. So see all the characters on here. It says, you know, what kind of part they are, what vocal part they are, which is great. I'm an alto, so what alto parts can I audition for? There are even more, there are so many ways to search on Stage Agent. You can search for different types of characters. You can search for monologues. You can search for songs. You can search, I mean, it's really an endless wealth of knowledge. I cannot recommend this website enough, especially for younger students. And the last website I wanted to show you, sorry about my hand there, was this local audition I found for Art4, their production of the Spitfire Grill. Now this was, this audition already happened, but this is still up, and I just searched local South Bend auditions, and this is what came up. So I just wanted to show you guys what a local audition looks like. This is very thorough, has a lot of information on here. Really all the info you could need is right in front of you. It says what materials you need, headshot, resume, all that good stuff. It says what the pay is, what the time commitment would be, so that you know when you're coming into the audition if you have any conflicts. It has a little synopsis of the show and character description. So this is super helpful. It also has info on how to sign up. So the internet is your friend when it comes to auditioning, and there are so many different ways to find audition postings, and your options are really endless as far as this is concerned. So we know what we're auditioning for. Now what? The next thing is to pick the right material. So depending on the breakdown, the audition breakdown, the material might be laid out right for you there. They might say, sing this song if you're auditioning for this character, sing this song if you're not, whatever. You know, it's very specific sometimes. A lot of times it's less specific. So if you are auditioning for a character in a musical, you want to sing one of their songs if it's possible. A lot of times audition breakdowns will say, do not sing from the show. And if that's the case, then you want to sing a song that your character's type would sing. So for example, if I'm auditioning for the role of Annie in Annie, I want to sing a song that has a lot of personality. I want to sing a song that's got, you know, a lot of belting to it. And a perfect song would be Shy from the musical Once Upon a Mattress. It's got a lot of belts to it. It shows off personality. It's fast. It moves. You know, it's a great fit for that. So you want to kind of think outside the box like that. If you are not auditioning for a specific character, just try and stay within the style of the show that you are auditioning for. An example of this would be to not sing a song from Rent for an Oklahoma audition, and vice versa. Don't make the casting director's job harder than it already is. Let them envision you in the show that they're trying to cast. A good way to do this is to look to other musicals or works, workshops, stuff like that, that the composer of the musical you're auditioning for has done. You can find a lot of really great underdone pieces, a lot of, not as well known, but beautiful stuff, done by the composer of the musical you're auditioning for. So of course it's in the style of the show, and that kind of does the job for you there. And if none of that it applies to you, then you might need to find a new piece, or you might have something in your book. Most actors have what they call an audition book, and it has a number of different types of pieces in it ready to be used at any time. So you can have any audition and look in your book and say, great, this is a great piece for this. I'll come. I don't have a lot of prep to do. And so a typical book is made up of about 10 or so musical theater songs. And I'm going to kind of go through a breakdown of what should be in your book if you are putting together an audition book. And I'll go through that right now. So the first thing you want to have in your book is a golden age song. You want to have two of them, actually. You want to have an up-tempo and a ballad. Now, golden age musical theater is typically before 1960. Just search it on Google, golden age, it'll come right up. It's all the old shows like South Pacific, Carousel, Rodgers and Hammerstein is one that you definitely, something by Rodgers and Hammerstein is what you want to have in your book. You want to have an up-tempo and you want to have a ballad. Now, an up-tempo is this song that is faster. It moves quicker. It might, have some patter words in it. It might be really, more difficult to sing. A ballad is something that is softer and slower and more emotional sometimes. And so they're good to contrast each other. And so you want to make sure you have one of each, an up-tempo and a ballad of golden age musical theater. The next thing you want to have is contemporary musical theater. You want to also have an up-tempo and a ballad of that. Contemporary musical theater is written after the 70s, 80s, anything that's happening now. You want to, like I said, have an up-tempo and a ballad of that. So you have lots of contrast. A lot of audition breakdowns, if they're more broad, they'll ask for a golden age and a contemporary, not necessarily an up-tempo or a ballad. So you want to have a lot to pull from for different auditions. The next thing you want to have in your book is either a pop, rock, or country song. You can have one of each, or you could have just one, but it's important to have at least one of the three. And this is a non-musical theater song. So I don't mean singing, one song Glory from Rent. Like I mean like a real, rock song or a real pop song, something by Lady Gaga, something by, whoever. In New York, a lot of the auditions that I've been to are for different types of entertainment, not necessarily theater. So they want stuff that's not theatery. They don't want to hear musical theater. So you want to make sure you have a nice pop or rock or country song in your book. The next thing you want to have is a Disney song or a Disney-like song. Now, a lot of auditions are for Disney. And a lot of auditions are Disney-like. You want to have that for girls. It's like that nice little light princessy voice, and you want to sing a nice bright mix belt. For guys, it's a little, like a nice Disney prince and different stuff. So, a piece from Disney or something that is similar to that is really good to have in your book for a nice go-to. The next thing you want to have is a comedic piece. A lot of auditions will ask for a comedic song, and that can either be an up-tempo, a ballad, a golden age. There's a big wide range that you can choose from for that. And the next thing you want to have in your book, and this can already be songs that we've talked about before, but you want to have a couple of go-to 16 to 32 bar cuts that best show off your voice. Most auditions, especially big cattle call auditions, will only give you time for 16 bars. And you want to make sure that you have that cut. You want to make sure that you have the best part of the song as your 16 bars. 90% of the time in what I've done, I've found that needs to be the end of the song, because casting directors and people want to hear the best part of the song, which is usually the end. It's the big, finish. They want to hear what your range is. You want to make sure that you show that you have, that you can act the piece. A lot needs to happen in 16 bars. So you want to have a few of those. I'm sorry, if some people don't know what I'm talking about when I say bars. I mean measures in a song. So you want to count the measures, and when they're 16, that's 32, then you're done. And that's either a page or half a page, depending on how fast the song goes. And the last thing you want to have in your book is your favorite song to sing. Now, this is just my little personal touch, but I think it's important to have that with you all the time, because there are sometimes when they'll say, you know what, just sing something you really love to sing. And then you can sing whatever you want. It doesn't matter if it's overdone. It doesn't matter if it's something you shouldn't be auditioning with. Having that with you is good for your soul. It's also a good way for you to show your passion if they ask for it. So those are, it's a broad stroke, but that's typically what most people have in their audition book. If you have a good book as your arsenal, there's a good chance that you have what you need for any audition that may arise. If not, resources like Stage Agent, which we just talked about earlier in this video, can help find the right material for you. And the last thing you want to do after you pick a piece, before you memorize it and everything, is you want to make sure it's not overdone and it's not something you don't want to do for an audition. So just do a quick Google search, say overdone audition pieces. There's a lot of blogs, a lot of casting directors will tell you what is overdone in New York, what is overdone all over the place, college auditions, just kind of all over. And you can find, I'm not supposed to sing Defying Gravity from Wicked. Oh, good, I didn't learn it. That kind of thing. Then you save yourself trouble. Okay. So now we're going to talk about what is appropriate and not appropriate to wear to an audition. The first thing, the most important thing, is that you have to look nice. This should be common sense, but you would be surprised at what some people wear to auditions. It's important to bathe, take a shower, brush your hair, make it look nice. Make sure you put effort into the way you look. You want to look like you care. You want to look like you put effort into it, not just all this prep and all this work and all this stuff you put into preparing for your audition is not going to do any good if you don't look nice and you don't look the part the day of. So if you are auditioning for a particular character, unless specifically requested, don't wear a costume to your audition. I know a lot of people think that's a good idea, but it really isn't. Don't wear a full costume to your audition. Rather, you want to find a happy medium between what you would wear and what your character would wear. For example, if I'm auditioning for the musical Little Women or the play Little Women, I could maybe wear a long skirt and a nice blouse, not a corset, not a full hoop skirt, but just kind of looking modern, but in the style of the show. Another example would be to wear something cute and sparkly to a Mamma Mia audition, or some high-waisted pants. Put a little bit of effort and thought into your outfit, and it'll help your audition. It'll show through. Musical theater auditions almost always have some sort of dance requirement with them. So having dance attire with you when you audition is a really good idea, even if it's not required, or if it's a callback. You want to really be prepared if you're going to be called back to dance. So let's talk a little bit about dance attire. So you want to make sure that it fits you properly, that it is nice and tight so they can see the lines in your legs. Like, you don't want to wear big baggy pants when you're auditioning, because then they can't see when you're doing kicks and stuff like that. Wear dance attire, a leotard, or dance pants, or a nice shirt. You don't want it to be too distracting, so you don't want to wear big logos or big patterns or something that's inappropriate on your shirt. And you also want to make sure you have the correct shoes. For a dance audition, you want to make sure you either have jazz shoes or ballet shoes, character shoes. If you are a tap dancer, bring your tap shoes. You can't audition if you're not in the right footwear. It's just not going to go well. And you want to do everything you can to help yourself succeed. So having everything with you that you might need, even though you might not use it, is going to be way better than not having stuff that you're going to need. If you are auditioning and you wear shoes that are not comfortable, it's going to show. So you want to practice in the shoes that you're going to be wearing for your audition. You don't want to wear 5-inch heels. unless that's what you wear every day. You know, you just don't want to fall over if you're not prepared, if you haven't practiced. So what I would suggest is wear the shoes that you're going to wear during your audition while you're practicing at home or practicing wherever. If you get more comfortable in those shoes, then you won't have to worry. That's one less thing you have to worry about on your audition is, oh my gosh, these shoes are killing my feet. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to fall down when I walk up these stairs. You want to set yourself up for success. And sometimes wearing the cutest option might not be the best option. And lastly, the last thing I have to say about audition attire is if you are not auditioning for a specific character, then just wear whatever the nicest version of you are most comfortable in. So whether that be a nice dress, or, you know, a good pair of jeans are fine as long as they don't look like they're dirty and you haven't washed them in 10 years, you know, just look nice. That's really the only thing I can say about this. And girls don't have to wear skirts and dresses. You can wear pants too. Just wear whatever you're most comfortable in. You don't want to wear anything that's going to hinder your performance or your audition, because that's just not going to set you up for success. So now we're going to go over what a professional theatrical resume and headshot are supposed to look like. We're going to start with the resume, and we're going to use my resume as an example. So in a few moments, it'll just come up on the video and I'll kind of guide you through what my resume looks like as an example of how to mirror a professional theatrical resume. So the first thing you want to notice in a theatrical resume is the name and the personal information. That's going to be at the top of the resume. So you can see my name is in bold. I also have my phone number, my email, my voice part, and my eyes and hair color. I have that on there because that's kind of standard industry practice. You also want to have some physical features on there just so they remember who you are. Some people like to put a picture on the front of your resume, but with it also being on the back, sometimes it's not necessary. It's just kind of a personal preference. If you do have any sort of representation or management or agency that you work with, you need to put that at the top of your resume as well. So you can see a management company I worked with in New York is still on the top of my resume there for pieces that are auditions that they sent me out for. That's if you do work with an agency or anything like that, you have to have that on your resume when you're out for auditions that they send you on. So you will notice that underneath my personal information, I have my theatrical resume started. So I have my shows I've been in. This is not every professional theater show I've done. It is the ones that I think are most important and the ones that I want on my resume. So you can see on the left-hand side is the title of the show. The next column is what character I played. The column after that is what theater company it was with. And the final column is actually who directed each show. Now, I've included that because it was suggested to me because that's a great connection that you can have with somebody behind the table. The theater world is so small that there's a good chance that they might know somebody that you've worked with. And then that's another great way to get your foot in the door. So you can kind of see that I've got a different range of roles. I've got plays, musicals. It's good to show that you've worked at a theater company more than once. It's also great to show that you've worked for more than one theater company, because then, they know that people want to work with you. And if you've worked there more than once, then you know that people have asked you back. You don't have to put it in chronological order. Mine is mostly in chronological order, but there are a few roles and shows that I've put higher on the resume because I want them to be noticed first. And then if you scroll down, the next thing I have is training. But if you have done any film, or if you're a film actor, you would put that in front of the theater part of the resume, or you could put it after. I just don't have any film to put on my resume, so I don't have that part on. But if you are a film actor and you need help with that, there are a lot of resources online. There are a lot of resume examples online that you can look at for that, but you would put that after the theater section on your resume. The next thing I have on mine is training. So you can see my college training, some high school stuff that I have on there, what I've all been trained in acting wise, how long I've been taking voice lessons, what kind of dialects I know, what kind of dance I've taken, and stage combat I have on there as well. Those are all great things that you want to have on your resume if you have done them, because that's things that casting directors want to know. The final thing I have on my resume is special skills. So that can be really anything that you think is a special skill on there. I have sewing, hair and makeup, piano, puppetry, sight reading, part singing, and I have listed that I have a passport and driver's license because some of the jobs I've had have required me to drive places, and they need to know if you have a driver's license, or if you want to travel internationally with whatever show you're doing, you might need a passport. So those are good things to include on your resume. It is not limited to these things. If you can do gymnastics or, juggling, that's all great stuff to put on your theatrical resume. So that is my resume. It is not the word of the law or anything like that. So this is just what has worked for me, and I hope that it helps you as well. And now we're going to talk about headshots. Theatrical headshot is different from a school picture or just a picture of your head. A good theatrical headshot shows emotion, it shows the real you, it conveys your personality, all in one little picture. So there are many different types of headshots, and a professional headshot photographer will be able to coach you to get the types of shots you need in a headshot session. But it's also really good for you to know what is needed by the industry, so you know what you need from a headshot session. The type of audition that you are going on will indicate the type of headshot you need to have with you. So headshots are typically just the waist up, if not shoulders up or chest up. So different types of shots would be a smiling one and a serious one and a comedic one and one where you look a little younger, one where you look a little older. If you wear glasses, you want to wear glasses in a headshot. You want to kind of show every different type of role you could play through a headshot. So what you want to kind of lean towards is if the roles you play are more serious or more ingenue or more ingenue, that's a funny word. You want to kind of gear your headshot session towards the roles that you more typically play. So I want to look innocent. I want to look playful. I want to, you want to keep that in your mind, your type in mind when you're doing your headshots. So what to wear in your headshots. You typically want to stay with something solid, nothing too bright. Muted earth tones are typically better. You want to go with something that is good for your skin tone and your hair color and what makes your eyes pop. And, there are so many things you can do. You just don't want it to take away from your face. So you don't want to do any patterns. You don't want to do white because that'll wash you out. You also you don't want to do something that's super bright and neon because that'll wash you out too. Just what you look good in. So just kind of gather a few pieces that you think you look your best in and bring those with you to your headshot session. A typical hour-long session or even a half hour, you can do 3 to 5 outfits, 2 to 5. And if you're getting these professionally done, the headshot photographer will go over your outfits with you and kind of say, I think this one's going to go really well. This one doesn't work so good, so we're going to go with these. They know what type of backgrounds they're going to be using on you, and so they know what colors will go with that and what won't. Also, I'm saying all of this as if you're getting professional headshots done. It's not necessary. If you can't afford a professional photographer or you just don't have time to set up a session, then it's important to know what you would need from a professional photographer or what you would be expecting so that you can get those shots yourself. Nowadays, iPhones are really great. with taking photos. Some of them are, you know, the best I've ever seen. So you can get professional quality headshots by just having your friend or your mom or whoever take your photos, or a photographer that is a photographer, but not somebody who typically does actors. If you have the knowledge of what you need, what kind of shots you need, then you will be able to help the photographer get what you want. But it's important to know what your vision is and to know what you want out of the session so you can get the correct shots and you can show yourself off in your best light and get your audition and get in the room and get the job. Right. The last thing we're going to talk about in the workshop today is video submissions. Even though most auditions right now are video submission, it's kind of the way things have been moving the last few years or so. It's just easier for people to audition. You can get more people seen that way through video submission. It's becoming more and more popular. So I wanted to make sure I covered that in this workshop because not a lot of people have had experience with that before. And a lot of theater companies, if not all right now, are pushing towards that as the only form of auditioning. So in-person auditions will happen again, but for now, this is what we're talking about. So a lot of times in the breakdown for the audition, they will list what kind of material they're looking for. So they will either say, give me 2 contrasting pieces, or be very specific, sing this from the show, do a little dance routine, something like that. So there are instructions. Make sure you follow their instructions. If not, then pick the best pieces for you and practice, practice, practice. You have to still practice for a video audition, just like you practice for an audition in person, because it's just as important. So when you're ready to film, you want to find a very well lit, uncluttered space in your house, or if you're able to use a dance studio or a voice studio or a practice room somewhere at your school or work or wherever, that's great too. You want to make sure the sound doesn't echo too much and there's not a lot of noise happening wherever you are to distract from the video. And in order to do that and to make sure, you want to do a little test video first. So just kind of say your name, maybe try your slate first, and then watch it back to make sure the lighting is okay and the sound is okay, because you don't want to film your whole audition and then realize that like there was a thumb in your thing or whatever, and then you can't, you have to do it all over again. And all the work you did was for nothing. So practice and then try it out first. So when you're ready to actually do your video, then you want to remember to slate at the beginning, because this is still an audition and they need to know who you are. Even though the video might say your name, you still want to show a little bit of yourself in the video. And you don't want to look directly into the camera because that's a little creepy. You want to set your scene partner a little bit off to the side or a little bit above. Just don't look right into the camera. You don't want to be like looking off to the side or anything like that, but you want to be able to see your face, but just don't make direct eye contact. Just like in an in-person audition, you don't want to make direct eye contact with the people you're auditioning for. You also don't want to do it in a video. Also, don't rush. You have this is one of the things that I have to work on. Typically when you do an audition, you tend to rush. And when you're by yourself making a video, you don't realize that you're rushing. So the slower you go, the better. And you really won't be going as slow as you think you are. This is the part that a lot of people aren't going to like, but you need to watch yourself back after each and every take you do, or at least after a couple of takes. This is the only way you're going to know if it's what you want and if you sound the way you want. And it's really helpful to kind of critique yourself, So you're going to want to watch yourself back. And once you find one you like, great. If that's the first take and you love it and you're ready to go, that's awesome. I would suggest filming a second take just in case, just to make sure that nothing's going to go wrong with the first one. You want to save it to your hard drive, save it to a flash drive, save it to your cloud, save it somewhere. Don't just leave it on your phone. Don't just leave it, you want to make sure that you save your video. It's important. And for uploading your video, they will probably have instructions for that as well on whatever audition posting you're using. But what I found to work the best is uploading your video to YouTube. There's even a way to make it a private link so the public can't see it. You can send them the direct link to your YouTube video and they're the only ones that have it. And that way you don't have to worry about them having to download your video or opening it up. And if it's too big, it doesn't work. You know, there's a lot of issues that can arise there, and using YouTube kind of eliminates all of those. Again, I hope that this information was helpful to you for your next audition, or if you're new to auditioning and just wanted some general information, I also hope this was helpful. Please remember the resources I mentioned throughout the video. We talked about backstage.com, broadwayworld.com, and Stage Agent. And Stage Agent even has a new section of their website that I just noticed this week. It is all focused on distance learning. I even found an article that has 31 things that you can do from your home right now. So please be sure to check that out while we have all this time on our hands. It is great for theater students of all ages. And although this video was available to you for free, don't forget to donate if you are so inclined. There's information on that in the video description below. There will also be information listed at the end of this video. And you can also visit sbct.org/education if you want more information about our summer camps and our education programs as a whole. Thank you so much for spending time with me, learning about auditioning and kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of that. We will be posting a new workshop every Tuesday and Thursday from now through May 14th. And we have a wide range of topics, so all ages are going to be involved, so please be sure to check back. Our next workshop is Tuesday, April 21st, and we will be learning shadow puppetry with Josh Naperkowski, and that sounds so fun, so please be sure to check back with us. And again, thank you so much for supporting the Civic Academy. I'm looking forward to when we can all be together again.